tracking breaking news right now. This is Local 6 at 5.
The threat is over. McCracken County Sheriff's deputies made an arrest in the Kevel home invasion and shooting from Sunday. We first told you about this today by Push Alert.
And this is video of where that shooting happened. Sunday morning, police surrounded the house thinking the suspect was inside. He was not. The shooting happened here around 6:30 Sunday morning at a home on Michelle Court. That's in Kevel, Kentucky.
The McCracken County Sheriff's Department says a man broke into the home and shot a woman inside. Local 6's Leah Shields joins us live at McCracken County Jail.
Okay, so what do we know so far, Leah?
All right, well, I just talked to Detective Matt Carter. I think he gave me a 5-minute warning. We're basically waiting outside of McCracken County Jail and across from the McCracken County Courthouse for the suspect to do a perp walk to jail with deputies right now. So some people are coming out and giving us signals. I think it might be in about 5 minutes right now. So if you look at this video, earlier this afternoon, the McCracken County Sheriff's Department searched through this home on Magruder Road in Kevel. That's a 2-minute walk away from where the shooting and home invasion happened. This neighborhood is feeling a lot of relief tonight, and the Sheriff's Department says all safety threats are over at this time. I think that's the most important thing, that people can start feeling safe again, and we will know more once they move the suspect to McCracken County Jail, hopefully within the next few minutes. Live in Paducah, Leah Shields, WPSD, Local 6.
All right, thanks, Leah. Again, this is still a developing situation at this hour. As soon as we have more details, including the name of the suspect in that perp walk we mentioned, we'll bring it to you. To receive breaking news right to your phone, download the WPSD Local 6 app. Make sure to enable push alerts.
An Illinois community's treasurer is accused of stealing more than $300,000 from the city where he worked. A grand jury indicted Ryan Thorpe on charges of wire fraud and embezzlement, and today he's in court to face a judge. Local 6's Rachel Krause was in the courtroom today. And Rachel, what happened?
Not guilty. That's the plea Ryan Thorpe entered in today. The former Ziegler, Illinois treasurer sat quietly with his attorney inside a federal courtroom in Benton, Illinois today. Handed a copy of the indictment just before the arraignment began. He did tell the judge he didn't understand the wire fraud charges against him. An audit of city finances found Thorpe altered check images and falsified accounting records to the city to try and cover it up. The audit shows the checks Thorpe wrote to himself, showing that from January of 2013 to August of this year, he stole more than $315,000 from the city. Mayor Dennis Mitchell and other community leaders made the trip to Benton to be in the courtroom during Thorpe's arraignment. He says it's hard to believe this all happened.
Well, I'm actually shocked that that Ryan pleaded not guilty, but we'll let the process play out now. December 26th, the trial will begin.
The judge set a trial date of December 26th, but Thorpe will be back in court on December 12th for a hearing. If he's found guilty on all 5 counts, he could face up to 80 years in prison and up to a $1.25 million fine. Live in the Illinois newsroom, Rachel Krause, WPSD, Local 6.
Rachel, thank you. Now, the mayor says the city has a $100,000 insurance policy in case of theft. He says it won't cover the $315,000 Thorpe is accused of stealing, but it will help the city catch up on its bills.
Hundreds of protesters took to the streets in Gainesville, Florida, ahead of a planned speech from white nationalist Richard Spencer. They say he's spreading a message of hate and inciting violence similar to what we saw in Charlottesville, Virginia in August. Florida's governor declared a state of emergency ahead of today's event. They had more than 500 police officers and National Guard members standing by. Before speaking on campus, the controversial alt-right leader spoke with reporters, saying he's a white nationalist, but not a white supremacist.
I'm absolutely not a racist. I do think that race is real, race matters, and race is the foundation of identity.
Initially, the University of Florida denied a request from Spencer's group to hold an event, citing safety issues. University President Kent Fuchs has said he does not stand behind Spencer, but that the university is legally obligated to provide options, allowing for many different viewpoints by external organizations. Kicked out of the state capitol yesterday, Wave 3 reporter David Mattingly was removed from the state capitol building while attempting to report on Governor Matt Bevin's pension plan. Prior to the meeting with the state's budget director, the governor's communications director told reporters it would be an off-the-record event. Mattingly voiced concerns, saying as a journalist he needed to be able to quote the budget director and report the sorts of information he gathered. 15 minutes later, police escorted him out.
A 10 out of 10. That's how President Trump rates his response to the Puerto Rico crisis today. Trump heaped praise on his and the government's efforts following the devastation of Hurricane Maria during an Oval Office meeting with Puerto Rico's governor.
It hit right through the middle of the island, right through the middle of Puerto Rico. There's never been anything like that. I give ourselves a 10.
The president said the island continues to struggle with 80% still without power, 20% still do not have access to fresh water. The Missouri Highway Patrol says someone reported seeing this escaped inmate, William Carter, in the woods in Caruthersville. That's in Pemiscot County, where he escaped from. Troopers say their search turned up nothing. The sergeant says this is a rural area and he's asking everyone to lock their sheds, barns, or outbuildings. Carter escaped with this man, Joseph Lontmadier, over the weekend from the Pemiscot County Justice Center. They are considered dangerous and might have a weapon. Stunned and heartbroken, that's how President Trump's Chief of Staff John Kelly says he is after the criticism of Trump's call to a family of an Army sergeant killed in Niger. Kelly told reporters the president expressed his condolences in the best way he could. And this comes after the aunt of an Army sergeant killed in Niger said Trump showed disrespect to the soldiers' loved ones.
An effort to get the facts straight. That's the reason Defense Secretary James Mattis cites for any information not yet released in the deaths of 4 U.S. soldiers in Niger. Secretary Mattis suggested accuracy is more important than speed when releasing such information. He also asked the media not to question the actions of troops that were under fire, saying they did not leave any soldiers behind.
Now your Weather Authority first forecast.
Warming up here for the second half of the week. 78 this afternoon, plenty of sunshine, and tonight pleasant temperatures on tap for us. Numbers right now still running in the mid and some upper 70s out there, including a 75 in Carbondale, 76 in Paducah, and 75 in Murray. For the rest of this evening, clear skies down to 63 at 8 o'clock, 59 at 10 p.m. We continue the warming trend tomorrow. Rain could bring your outdoor weekend plans inside. We'll tell you when the wet weather rolls in just a few minutes.
We hosted another Super Shredder Thursday today.
Local 6's Stephanie Martinez was there as you shredded up to 50 pounds of personal documents at SIU Credit Union in Carbondale, Illinois.
Well, it's been a successful Super Shredder Thursday here so far, and so many people coming in to get rid of their personal documents to make sure they're shredded properly. We have Kim Babington here with the SIU Credit Union on Giant City Road. Turnout's been good. What can we do to make sure our personal information is not compromised?
Well, that is what everyone needs to do. Make sure that if you have a shredder at home, you have a cross shredder so that pieces can't be put back together. Another important factor is if you are people that still have your statements coming to your houses, you need to make sure that you get those out of your mailbox right away, because thieves these days just go into mailboxes. You know, everyone has online banking now, and that's a safer way. You just have to get on your computer to look at your stuff, but that's another safe way. You know, another thing to do is watch for people looking over your shoulder with PIN numbers when you're trying to put your ATM or your debit cards. And use your credit card in restaurants versus your debit card, because people walk away with those to charge.
Fantastic, Kim. Thank you. Great tips right there until we get back to our Super Shredder Thursday next year. Again, a great turnout here today. Stephanie Martinez in Carbondale, Illinois, WPSD Local 6.
This is the last Super Shredder of the season. If you couldn't make it out to a Super Shredder this year, it will be back again next year. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson heads to the Middle East, South Asia, and Europe on a diplomatic mission. The meetings will focus on the conflicts in Iraq and Syria and the Iranian influence in the region. He will travel to Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Pakistan, and India. The wildfires in Northern California destroyed more than 7,000 homes and buildings. More than 15,000 people remain under evacuation orders as crews continue to contain the fires. 42 people have died. North Korea is months away from perfecting its nuclear weapons capabilities. CIA Director Mike Pompeo said that today at a national security forum in Washington. He also said it's even more important the United States and its allies succeed in stopping a nuclear North Korea.
The man accused of shooting 6 people in 2 states yesterday made his first court appearance in Delaware today. Radee Smith Prince faces charges which include attempted murder. Police say Prince shot 5 co-workers at Advanced Granite Solutions in Hartford County, Maryland. Investigators expect for him to return to that state to face charges in the workplace shooting. Have you noticed the fall leaves turning colors? Probably not. They're tough to spot right now. This is video from the sky over Smithland, Kentucky and Livingston County. Experts say, peak change will likely happen the last week of October, maybe into the first week of November. And people around parts of the Local 6 area say they're patchy at best.
Yeah, the warm, dry conditions of late delaying that peak, but it's certainly feeling more like fall and will continue to do so. A big cool down to tell you about in your forecast. We'll get to that in about 4 minutes.
The reason your teen may not be getting enough sleep at night, that's ahead in tonight's Family Wellness. Plus, the warning signs to watch for if your pet, as local vets treat a spreading infectious illness, next at 5.
But first, our top 3 trending stories from around the world. An explosion at an unlicensed firecracker factory killed 8 workers and injured 20 in eastern India. Kenyan police fired guns and tear gas to disperse demonstrators preparing to protest police killings of opposition supporters. Human rights groups say police killed 67 people in opposition protests in the days after a disputed presidential election in August. And the USS Ronald Reagan, a 100,000-ton nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, patrols the waters east of the Korean Peninsula.
Your breaking news and weather authority with Todd Faulkner, Jennifer Horbelt, and weather authority Trent Okerson. You're watching Local 6 at 5 in high definition.
If your dog is suffering from a hacking cough and loss of appetite, you might think it's kennel cough, but one veterinarian says you may be wrong.
A mysterious respiratory illness is affecting dogs in one local community, and if left untreated, it could develop into pneumonia.
Local 6's Logan Gay tells us how you can protect your furry friend.
There is a serious illness going around Metropolis that is putting the health of dogs like this one in jeopardy, and veterinarians are worried.
Initially, we thought it was just kind of the standard kennel cough that we're used to seeing, but it turns out that it's something different. These dogs have all been vaccinated against kennel cough. The lab tests we've run have shown that that's not what it is.
For the past 2 weeks, Dr. Bonnie Guy has been seeing almost 8 cases of this illness a day. She says it's contagious and fast-moving.
These dogs have a dry hacking or sometimes even a honking sound to their cough.
So far, it seems to be contained to Metropolis, but if not treated properly, it could potentially spread.
We've actually seen some cases from Paducah as well, but so far all of those dogs have a history of having recently been in Metropolis.
If your dog is showing signs of a respiratory illness, this sign says you can't come in. To protect the other animals, so you must first wait in your car and call ahead. But one veterinarian thinks this has been blown out of proportion.
Yeah, it just seemed a little panicky to me. We, especially the boarding facility that I'm familiar with in Metropolis, they do everything they can.
Until this illness is under control, Guy suggests dog owners avoid contact with other dogs. In Metropolis, Illinois, Logan Gay, WPSD, Local 6.
Dr. Bonnie Guy says the illness does respond well to medication. She suggests owners bring their dogs in early if they think their dog might be experiencing any symptoms. If you'd like to know more information about this illness, head to WPSDLocal6.com and click on this story.
WPSD Local 6, the weather authority, certified most accurate by Weather Rate.
Well, our string of beautiful fall weather continuing this afternoon. Plenty of sunshine, warmer temperatures after a crisp start to our morning. Down in the mid-40s, rebounding the upper 70s this afternoon. Sunshine from the Saladino and Shaft Sky Tracker Network right now. The tower from the station looking off toward the northwest. 76 right now. Just a variable breeze, pretty light at around 5 miles per hour. Numbers typically running in the mid-70s right now, including a 73 in Mayfield, 77 in Princeton. Numbers across the river in Illinois at 76 in Metropolis and a 79 in Sikeston and Malden. High pressure still in control, still centered over eastern Tennessee and Kentucky. South winds continuing to bring in some slightly milder air. Really very quiet weather over our part of the country. You have to go all the way toward the Pacific Northwest to find some active weather. And this is our next weather maker, a cold front just coming on shore from the Pacific Ocean. It will be arriving here Sunday, bringing a soggy second half of the upcoming weekend. For tonight, Clear skies, temperatures at 71 within the hour, down to the 50s by 10 o'clock this evening. So maybe grab the jacket if you're out for a late evening walk or jog. And then tomorrow morning, same story. You'll need the jacket. We'll start out in the upper 40s, end up in the 50s by 8 o'clock in the morning, but numbers quickly rebounding into the upper half of the 70s tomorrow. 79, possibly 80 degrees for a few spots on your Friday afternoon. Let's talk about those weekend rain chances. Still looking like Sunday is the day that we'll have to move some of our plans indoors. Saturday should be in good shape. Rain knocking on our door by Sunday morning, and a very slow-moving front that will take most of the day to move across our region, and with it will linger those rain chances through most of the day on Sunday. And in fact, forecast models continuing to slow the departure of this thing down, and so even early Monday morning looking like we'll have to deal with a little bit of wet weather to start the work week. 79 the next couple of afternoons, 80% chance for rain on Sunday. Cooler and a little breezy, high of around 73. Rain moves out Monday morning, and it's going to bring a pretty healthy rainfall to the area, and the kind that we like. It's going to be a slow, steady rain that'll be here for a little while, and much of the area now looking at likely an inch or so of rain. In fact, some spots could pick up a little closer to 1.5 inches or even 2 inches, especially in the southern half of the area. The other big story next week, once the rain departs, 2 cold fronts in a couple of days moving through, and it's going to bring a big change in the temperature department. Look at these high temperatures: 63 on Tuesday, 57 on Wednesday, and that's even with plenty of sunshine. And this is just the start of a cool snap. This is the temperature outlook that goes all the way through Saturday, October 29th. Below average temperatures continuing over our part of the country. Typically, we're looking at numbers around 70 for daytime highs. We're going to be stuck in the 60s again on Thursday. So fall definitely here. We get a little rain this weekend. We get the cooler temperatures.
Yeah.
That should kind of kickstart that fall color into gear for us as well.
That 57 is going to be a little shock to the system.
It's going to be pretty cold.
Yes, it will. Okay, Trent, thanks. Todd.
In tonight's Family Wellness, is your teen getting enough sleep? A new study finds today's teens are not getting enough shut-eye. They looked at sleep patterns of teens over the last 25 years and found 40% of teenagers today sleep fewer than 7 hours a night. Researchers suggest, guess what? Smartphones may be to blame for the trend.
700,000. That's how many seasonal employees retailers are ramping up to hire this holiday season. Are you one of them? If you're starting to look, pay attention to tonight's Help Wanted. Monster.com reports there are several companies hiring seasonal workers right now, and they have tens of thousands of openings to fill. The United States Postal Service is one of them. USPS anticipates hiring between 35,000 and 40,000 this holiday season. Toys R Us will also hire thousands, and one of the states that will see the biggest batch of hiring for Toys R Us will be Illinois. FedEx anticipates hiring more than 50,000 people. Peak delivery time for FedEx is between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and last year they delivered some 325 million packages. Kohl's will bring on 65,000 people, and JCPenney will take on 40,000. So these aren't the only companies hiring for the holidays. Head to WPSDLocal6.com and click on Saw It on 6 in the big blue box for a link to more information.
Tomorrow is your last chance to donate to our Coats for Kids campaign. So far, you have helped us collect 1,055 coats to help kids stay warm this winter. Our annual Coats for Kids campaign runs through Friday. Drop off that new or gently used coat at any River Valley Ag Credit. They have locations in 8 counties in West Kentucky. For more information, head to WPSDLocal6.com, click on Contests.
Continuing our breaking news coverage now, if you're just joining us, the McCracken County Sheriff's Department has made an arrest in the Kevel shooting and home break-in. This man, Spencer Forrest, is under arrest in the case. This is actually video from just a few minutes ago when the Sheriff's Department walked him from the county courthouse to the jail, which is where Local 6's Leah Shields is standing by for us tonight. Leah?
All right, so now we know his name, Spencer Forrest. We just have video if you want to watch more of that. We have video live of him walking to jail and being booked in McCracken County Jail on WPSD's Facebook page. But he is being charged with 3 counts of first-degree burglary, one count first-degree assault, and 2 counts first-degree wanton endangerment. Tonight he's being booked in the jail, like I said, and the suspect is apparently neighbors with the victim, according to Sheriff John Hayden. In just a few minutes, we're walking inside to get more information on this. He is charged with about 5 counts of different things right now. And again, there's no longer a safety threat tonight, and this is the suspect involved with the home invasion and shooting in Kendall, Kentucky. That's all we know right now. Live in Paducah, Leah Shields, WPSD Local 6.
All right, Leah, thank you. And in about 5 minutes, the Sheriff's Department will be holding a news conference. We'll bring you the latest information from that at 6 o'clock.
And getting cold again tonight, right?
Yeah, chilly tonight. Not quite as cold as the last couple of nights. Numbers down in the upper 40s tonight, close to 80 tomorrow. Winter outlook was released today. We'll talk about that
Oh boy,
at 6.
Trent, thanks.
We'll see you back here at 6 o'clock.
WPSD Local 6, your breaking news and weather authority. This is Local 6 at 5 in high definition.
20 years ago.
911. Barbara McGinty again. We've got 5 kids down.
3 girls gone.
The whole shooting, from this time it started till it was over, lasted 12 seconds.
Today, tears and pain as a community remembers what happened, but also healing.
We are going to remember with hope.
It is one of those events that everyone remembers where they were and what they were doing when they heard about it. The Heath High School shooting happened 2 decades ago today. It is a tragedy that affected so many of you in the community. At 7:45 in the morning, a 14-year-old student walked into the lobby with guns wrapped in blankets. He then opened fire on 20 students in a prayer circle. The shooter then surrendered to the principal. 3 teenage girls were killed in this shooting. 17-year-old Jessica James died while in surgery after the shooting. 15-year-old Casey Steger died shortly after. 14-year-old Nicole Hadley was also killed. 5 other students were injured. Music and prayers today inside the former Heath High School gym. Victims, family members, first responders, even teachers and staff were there. The ceremony was held to mark the anniversary, but also to celebrate this, a new memorial to honor the girls killed, the victims who survived, and a community that believed in Heath. This memorial is accessible to everyone at any time. Local 6's Brianna Clark joins us live from that memorial tonight. And Brianna, I was there with you earlier today. It is really a beautiful memorial.
It is, and when you're here, whether you were directly impacted or not, you can feel the power of what happened that day. This is what gets me. This row of lights points to where the shooting happened and leads here to the memorial. These are the names of the 3 girls who died on this day 20 years ago. For their families, this means these girls will never be forgotten. For their moms, this keeps them going.
I can smile now. 20 years ago, anything I saw, I was just in tears constantly. But I remember all the good times.
Sabrina Steger is looking at pictures of her daughter, Casey. She was killed 20 years ago when a student opened fire at her school. She was just 15.
It's been tough. It's not, I wouldn't wish this upon anyone, ever, never. No mother, no parent should have to bury a child. Brothers and sisters shouldn't have to bury each other at this young age.
It's a reality Christina Elligood knows all too well. Her sister, 14-year-old Nicole Hadley, was also killed in the mass shooting. Their mom says this memorial means her daughter did not die in vain.
It's just an honor, and it means a lot to know that people still care, and it helps.
For these families, today turned into a day of healing.
There was just so much love today. Love and comfort, hope.
A feeling of peace as hundreds gathered around the memorial for a ribbon cutting. In the middle of all this, they still found a reason to laugh.
We've used laughter as a way to deal with pain, and we've definitely been laughing today.
Christina tells me all 3 girls had dreams of careers where they could positively impact the community, which is why she says she doesn't want to make today a day of sorrow. She's working with the school district to make December 1st a day of giving across the district. Live in McCracken County, Brianna Clark, WPSD Local 6.
Brianna, thank you. The memorial isn't complete yet. We're told 5 benches will be added to remember the 5 students who were injured in the shooting.
You know where the weapon is? Or
Yes, miss, we've got it in the drawer.
You've got the weapon?
Yes, we do.
Okay, who's the perpetrator?
Michael Carneal.
That 911 recording captures the moment when then Heath High School Assistant Principal Barbara McGinty called dispatch and named the shooter, Michael Carneal. That recording was among a large amount of evidence collected by investigators. One of those people is current McCracken County Commissioner Jerry Beyer. At that time, he was serving as Chief Deputy Coroner. He helped photograph, catalog, and collect evidence from the lobby. Beyer says the 20-year anniversary has him remembering the lives lost and the impact on the community.
They're remembering how brilliant their children were and how beautiful they were and the good things that they were doing.
Tonight on Local 6 at 6, Todd Faulkner sits down with Beyer as he recalls other details from his investigation and how he says the incident transformed the entire community. Michael Carneal was 14 at the time of that shooting. He pleaded guilty and is currently serving a life sentence. In 2012, he attempted to withdraw his guilty plea. The U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals denied his request. He's up for parole in 2023. Our coverage of Heath 20 years later will continue. Former Principal Bill Bond shares his memories of that day in about 5 minutes. We have continuing coverage now. Former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn pleaded guilty to lying to the FBI about meetings he held with the Russian ambassador. This makes Flynn the first person who worked in the Trump White House to face any charges in the Russia investigation. Flynn pleaded guilty to a single count of lying to the FBI in a January interview, just 2 days after being sworn in as President Trump's national security advisor. As part of the deal, Flynn admitted that a senior member of the Trump transition team directed him to make contact with Russian officials in December 2016. According to CNN, that senior member was Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. These sketches show Flynn in a U.S. District courtroom. During his courtroom plea, Flynn acknowledged misleading federal agents about the nature of conversations he had with Russia's U.S. ambassador. He's pledging his full cooperation with special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 presidential campaign. After Flynn said, "My guilty plea and agreement to cooperate with the special counsel's office reflects a decision I made in the best interests of my family and of our country. I accept full responsibility for my actions." A White House lawyer says that nothing about Flynn's guilty plea implicates anyone other than Flynn. He also pointed out that Flynn worked in the White House for only 25 days. Today, members of Congress reacted to this.
Well, I think most of us believe it's not a witch hunt or a hoax, and that the FBI director and all others believe this is a legitimate concern.
With this plea, experts say it's unlikely Flynn will see a day in prison. Illinois Senator Tammy Duckworth is reacting, quote, "As one of the Trump's senior advisors, Michael Flynn was in a position of significant influence, and every American should be alarmed if reports that he abused his position to betray our nation on behalf of foreign interests are validated."
Now your Weather Authority first forecast.
Well, the sunshine was back out today and temperatures a little bit cooler than recent days, but still above average for this time of the year. We're down to 49 degrees as you look live at the Saladino Shaft Sky Tracker Network, as things are pretty busy out there at lunchtime anyway. Busy out at the mall area, and you can see I-24 is busy right now. 43 degrees by 8 o'clock, 42 at 9, and probably going to need that jacket as the later hours roll in for the evening. 41 degrees at 10 o'clock. We'll show you how long we'll keep rain away and when that colder weather will arrive coming up in a few minutes.
Senate Republicans continue toward the passage of a $1.4 trillion tax overhaul. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says they have the votes. Republican Senators Jeff Flake and Susan Collins say they will support the plan. Here's what's on the table: cutting individual tax rates, doubling the standard deduction, and ending deductions for state and local taxes and medical expenses. Tennessee Senator Bob Corker says he is the only Republican who says he will not vote for the bill. He says he can't cast aside his fiscal concerns and vote for legislation he believes will deepen the debt. New at 5, it is the end of an era for a local city. Marion, Illinois Mayor Bob Butler announced he is retiring on January 31st, 2018. Butler says the deterioration of his hearing has progressed to the point that he can't carry out his duties. This is Butler, some video of Butler over the 55 years he served as mayor since 1963. That makes him the longest serving mayor in the United States. This is actually video of him going on an honor flight earlier this year. Former President John F. Kennedy was president when Butler was first elected, to give you some perspective there. According to the Marion Republican, by state law, the city finance commissioner, Anthony Ranella, becomes mayor pro tem. Ranella will be sworn in February 1st and will complete the rest of Butler's term. That's through April 2019. The Marion Council has 60 days to appoint a replacement for Ranella as city commissioner. This congressman will decide in the coming days if he will resign following allegations of sexual misconduct. According to the attorney for Michigan Representative John Conyers, his health would play a factor in that decision and not pressure from Washington. The Democratic representative has been hospitalized since Wednesday. Conyers continues to deny he sexually harassed anyone. This Saline County woman, Tammy Curry, faces a charge of reckless discharge of a firearm after an argument with her husband. Saline County deputies say Curry fired a pistol in the direction of her husband, Daniel Curry, during an argument. We return now to our coverage of the Heath High School shooting. Bill Bond was the principal 20 years ago. When the students who survived had all graduated, he spent 15 years traveling the country, speaking about preparedness at schools and to law enforcement. And if there was a school shooting, he went immediately to help in a way only he knew how. He agreed to speak with us for what he says is likely his last television interview about a day he carries with him always.
911.
Barbara McGinty again, we've got 5 kids down.
5 kids have been shot, man?
Yes.
20 years after the horror of this day, Bill Bond still hears it.
That's one thing that stays with you forever is the rhythm of those gunshots. You know, the pow, pow, pow.
12 seconds.
You hear that rhythm.
3 lives gone. Does he think about the life he may not have had?
No. I've thought about the life of those girls, Nicole and Steger and Jessica. I've thought about the life they don't have, but no, I've never thought about the life I didn't have.
That morning, Bill was on the phone when the gunshots started. He left his office. He remembers walking toward the shooter.
It's a strange feeling to be going towards something that everyone is running. I mean, they're running.
Bill was the principal for what would be one of the first school shootings of its kind.
That had never crossed my mind. I mean, it had, in my whole life, it had never crossed my mind. And now there's not a high school principal in the nation that doesn't flick in his mind sometime every day.
Bill's retired today. He doesn't do interviews anymore if he can help it. But Heath High School is always there. In his closet, a basket of cards, letters, newspaper clippings. It's part of him.
But I've never looked at them. But I don't throw them away.
Not just the tragedy of what happened here, but the triumph of a community that believed in Heath.
The teachers that were there were committed to those kids. And the kids were committed to each other.
And people like Missy Jenkins, who taught him a lesson all those years ago from her hospital bed.
And I got tears in my eyes, and I don't cry. And she said, "Don't worry about me, Mr." She had a big old smile on her face, big old honest smile. And she said, "Don't worry about me, Mr. Bond. I'm going to be just fine." And Missy is just fine.
Well, he's right. Missy's just fine. You'll remember she was paralyzed in the shooting and is in a wheelchair. Well, today she's Missy Jenkins Smith, married with 2 kids. She's an author. We'll explain the purpose she's found in life after the shooting at 6. And to hear more of my interview with Bill Bond, head to WPSDLocal6.com and look for this story. And as we head to break, we leave you with these images from the day of the Heath High School shooting 20 years ago. In tonight's Family Wellness, could you be allergic to your house? A new study finds more than 90% of houses have at least 3 detectable allergens. Dust mites in particular love humid environments and are more likely to be found in the south and northeast. To cut down on scratching and sneezing, experts recommend vacuuming and washing bedding in hot water every week. Well, taking a step to fight the opioid addiction, the FDA approved a new treatment yesterday. It is a monthly injection of buprenorphine. That is different from naloxone, which is used in an emergency overdose situation. The injection is the first such therapy on the market.
WPSD Local 6, the Weather Authority, certified most accurate by Weather Rate.
Well, we are close to a full moon tonight, and this beautiful capture in the social weather gallery tonight comes from Barb Hoth in Eddyville, Kentucky. And you can see that nearly full moon rising over the trees there at the lakes area. And as we head into tomorrow night into early Sunday morning, that's when we will see the full moon. So just another 36 hours away, and we'll see that officially this weekend. Going to be a beautiful view for it this weekend too. Tonight we're going to see some high clouds moving in, so you'll still be able to see a little bit of that moon, but you can see those high clouds really drifting in from the west as a weak front moves across the area tonight, even bringing what looks like a hint of a little bit of light shower activity, but it's really fizzling out as it gets further to the east and encounters all that dry air in place. So really not anticipating much in the way of maybe a few patches of drizzle late tonight. Otherwise, we'll be looking at just a few clouds passing through for the overnight hours tonight. Things are dry right now, and you can see some of those clouds with just a little daylight left on the Saladino and Shaft Sky Tracker network. Mostly clear here at the Weather Center. Those clouds coming in from the west. Right now it's 49 degrees and our winds are calm. You can see overnight tonight, temperatures will be a little bit warmer than where we were earlier this morning, down to 37 in Paducah and Vienna, Sikeston at 39 in the 40s as further south you go, especially where we keep that cloud cover longer through the overnight. Murray and Dresden in the low 40s. Then as we look at temperatures as we head throughout the weekend's looking great. Right now we're talking about plenty of sunshine both days. Now tomorrow I think most of us will stay closer to 60 degrees, but the low 60s for sure on Sunday as winds really turn around to the south. Now you can see winds will start to pick up a little bit on Sunday, but once Monday rolls around, that's when we're going to see that big front coming at us with the chance of rain. Very warm temperatures ahead of it, but then eventually that big drop as we move into the middle of next week. So let's track rain chances as we start on your Monday at 5 o'clock. We're going to stay dry until then. So keep that in mind this weekend as we move through late Monday into early Tuesday morning. This is a look at midnight. You can see those rain showers moving in across the area, continuing on into the morning commute on Tuesday. Now this is going to be pushing out pretty quickly throughout the day on Tuesday, but notice as it does, from time to time we see a little hint of some wintry weather in there, but generally it looks like most of it's going to be rain. It looks like the moisture is going to get out of here well before a lot of the cold air does, but it's going to be a lot of cold air, and we'll look at that here in just a moment. Mostly sunny skies for your tomorrow as well as Sunday with highs in the low 60s. Overnight lows not quite as chilly either, especially as we move into Monday morning as we look for a low of 45 degrees, 72 on breezy southerly winds for Monday. Look for a 20% chance of showers in Missouri, especially late in the day. Remember, those showers will move in by midnight and early Tuesday, and rain chance at 80%. Look at our temperatures, quite the turnaround. 30+ degree drop is going to be what we're going to feel going into the middle of next week. We'll go from 72 on Monday to 48 on Tuesday, down to 44 by Friday, and those overnight lows back in the 20s, well below freezing. So really take in all the warm weather you can, because the long-term forecast looks pretty chilly.
Okay, Jen, thank you. And as we head to break, we continue to honor the memory of 3 girls who died 20 years ago in the Heath High School shooting and the multitude of lives impacted by what happened that day. Tomorrow, Mayfield's football team will play for a state championship. Sports Director Jeff Bidwell joins us now. So the team they're playing is very familiar to the Mayfield football family.
Yeah, Mayfield will play Danville tomorrow in the finals. They have met 4 times before in the championship game back in the late 80s and early 90s. Danville won all 4 of them. Now, those teams were coached by Hall of Famer Jack Morris. Mayfield is, of course, now coached by Jack's son, Joe. And so while tomorrow's game is business, it's still definitely just a little bit personal as well.
It's not been good. I can think back of several losses, and we didn't have that many, but they're painful.
Jack Morris led Mayfield to 4 state championships, but he also lost 4 state title games to Danville, including in 1987, where the Admirals blocked an extra point in overtime to win 24-23.
You know, it was a tough time for me.
His son Joe was an assistant under Jack for all of those losses to Danville.
In 2002, Joe was the head coach, and in the state semifinals, for the only time in program history, Mayfield finally knocked off Danville.
I enjoyed it. I was coaching then. I was one of his assistants, and that was really it was really relief.
You know, I guess that up there was a big load off my shoulders. That was a great win for us, and you know, probably one of the best of my career.
That was a semifinal game back in 2002. Tomorrow it's for a state championship. And while a win won't erase all that heartache from 30 years ago, Joe Morris hopes a victory would be a bit of a football exorcism for his dad and for the entire Mayfield football family.
You know, I hope so. They just always had the upper hand some way, and you know, hopefully we can get the upper hand Saturday.
Jack and Joe Morris have combined for 479 wins, all at Mayfield, including 10 state championships. You have to believe if number 11 comes against Danville tomorrow, it may be the sweetest of all. Jen.
Well, Mayfield and Danville will play tomorrow at 12 p.m. Central in Lexington. Jeff will have highlights and reaction for you tomorrow at 6 and 10. And as we head to break, we continue to remember the impact of the Heath High School shooting 20 years ago today. All right, a lot of Christmas parades happening tomorrow.
You know, it's a perfect weekend for that. You're not going to be shivering so much trying to stand out there. It'll actually be a little on the mild side and dry. Well, it also brings heightened fire risk for the weekend, too, across parts of the area, so be mindful of that. But enjoy those parades. Love it.
We will. Jen, thanks. Thanks for watching at 5.